Hello everyone, my name is Mark Gambale, and you're at the Thriving in Business Uncertainty series today. This series is sponsored by Gambale Labs as well as the City of Louisville. Why does this series matter? We're all in totally different societal and business norms now. Whether your business is in a sort of a survival mode or you're in this thriving mode, your mindset really matters. And using that mindset to your advantage matters more than ever.
My job is here to support any actions for our existing businesses and our future business community. I'd really encourage all of you to apply for multiple types of assistance. I think that part of the mentality there is that, many of the programs are processes and approvals. You can always turn down if you're approved, but if you don't apply, and then later you find out that you do need additional resources, then there's a waiting period and there could be a pretty long queue. So it's always okay to apply and decide at a later time that you don't need that assistance. So the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP, this is part of the CARES Act that you've probably heard a lot about. So you have to use 75% of the funds that you receive through the program on payroll to make sure that it's forgivable. My best advice from what I've heard is go to your local bank or local lending institution that you work with now first. Those banks are serving their existing customers first. Usually, there are only certain banks that have additional capacity to take on new customers at this time. My best advice to you about this program, because I'm not a federal expert and most of us are not, is the Boulder Small Business Development Center. So any Louisville businesses can go to them for help, and it is free. So you can go to their website link that's listed here and sign up for a one-on-one consulting appointment with them, and they can answer questions. They have expertise in these federal loan programs, and I've met with them and speak with them every week now, and they are a great resource to you. In addition to our Support Local campaign, the city has a dedicated business resources page for COVID-19. But the best way to stay aware at the moment when that program is going to be advertised and becomes available and what the eligibility is to be on that email list. So top of our resources page is where you can subscribe.
Maybe a number of you have done 90 or 95% of the checklist, but it might be that last one or two pieces that you've yet to carve out time for. This is an investment in yourself.
Times like this, the businesses, the people who are able to just provide the most value to their customers are going to be top of mind. So as long as you can just switch your mindset, try and add the most value to people, even if it doesn't mean money in your pocket immediately, that's what we like to suggest everybody to do. Just think a little bit differently in that realm.
This new mode of engaging with customers is going to continue. So there might be ideas that you have, and maybe it's a good time to start thinking about those ideas.
Right, and so simple tweaks of starting to serve your customers in new ways is really key.
If you've noticed that others have already done what you're doing, or you're trying to find ways to be unique, literally stop the things that others are doing and only do what you can do really well, what you can curate and serve up to the market.
We're in a difficult time, but it's going to pass, right? Business is going to get that closer to normal. Start planning for that. A blog is something amazing that you can start now when you have maybe a little bit more free time. Because if you guys don't know anything about blogging, it is the number one way to actually start to get found on Google, right? And although it is the number one way, it's a slow way. It's a process, right? So by starting that now, it's not going to affect you today. It's not going to give you more customers tomorrow, but it's going to give you more customers over the long term.
If you don't have one, start the process of finding a business coach. What a great time to actually find a business coach and someone that can help you not only get through this new business as abnormal, but help you really shift and shape yourself so that on the backside of this, as things start to change and new norms settle in, you're already ahead of the game.
I own Pitter Patter, which is on the north end of Main Street in Louisville. But since the shutdown in mid-March, we've had to retool and pretty much throw our old business plan out the window and come up with new ones overnight. So overnight, we started moving all of our merchandise that we were allowed to our online platform. So Pitter Patter took a big pivot. And even though I am at my highest capacity of clothing inventory right now, as we're about to change seasons, I needed to spend more money, and that was daunting. So overnight, I started retooling what we had to offer our customers. The Easter bread and coming to visit is a bright spot, and Pitter Patter's all about celebrating milestones and happy occasions. So we wanted to be a part of that. We were hearing consistently from our community that they want to support us, and they want to hear from us daily on social media. What we started doing very quickly is leveraging our digital presence. Positivity in our social media messages have been very well received. I did make like a vendor naughty and nice list. Or if a brand just wasn't performing, now's really the time to clean house. And I have made a wealth of new friends just in the past month who are virtual friends who are in business groups, and they have so many ideas. So I would encourage everyone to leverage your other peers on ideas that they could offer on how to operate. In a way, the business has been a distraction from the personal fear until I get that next bill in the mail.
What I've found during this time is that I function best with optimism. I think Liz was saying, you know, it's not that she's trying to kind of put everything underneath the rug, but it's more that if I dwell in what was, I can't seem to move forward. So our live stream classes, you still see your teachers, you still see your students. The students can interact with each other at the beginning of class. So for me, as the teacher, when I join in, it's a sense of community. I have to say though, I think what I was surprised the most by was the enthusiasm of the community. And actually, if you see these slides, it's the teacher in the bottom right, Jen Soule. She taught our very first Zoom class on a Saturday afternoon at 4, and we had 30 plus people join in, which is actually more bodies than we can have in our studio. The other thing that surprised me a lot is that this platform has enabled us to reach students that couldn't take class otherwise. We have people that have been intimidated to try yoga, trying it now. We have a lot of times, and I'm not trying to stereotype here, but we have a lot of husbands joining in with their wives because suddenly their wives are practicing in the living room, and then, you know, he's like, well, you know, they can't really see me. My husband, in fact, is joining in, and he wasn't taking classes before. So I find that really inspiring. We've been able to add some classes that wouldn't have been a hit in person. So for instance, the one that's on the screen right now is this restorative yoga pajama party. And so we've been kind of adding more things in that regard of classes that perhaps we couldn't have done and the class has doubled in size from where it was in studio. Just kind of being willing to acknowledge what isn't working and acknowledge that I can't just shift everything that was in studio to Zoom. It had to be a mindset.
Great, thanks Mark. Thanks for having me. Gosh, should we even be operating? Is this irresponsible to try to, you know, feed people? And I struggled with that, as did a lot of my team. You know, we made a softly resolute, commitment to pushing through and remaining open. Well, we're not a bakery cafe. We are now a Moxie supply company. So we sell things like toilet paper. You know, I had a pretty major shift in my kind of ego around who I am and what I do. And for me, it was like, I'm a baker. I'm such a proud baker. Let me tell you how many loaves of bread I can bake. And we opened Moxie, and it became clear that Moxie was more about community than bread. And with this pandemic, now it's like, I don't really care what I'm selling as long as it's of value and people, and it's helping our business and our community. So I proudly sell 2-ply toilet paper for $1 a roll or $1.50. And I decided right when the proverbial whatchamacallit hit the fan, we would communicate what we were doing to be safe, how we were going to operate our business, what new products we were adding, in the form of a daily update. And, you know, the biggest feedback we get are people saying, hey, It is so nice to have just a little dose of normal every morning.
And so the first thing we wanted to talk about was mindset, because this is an opportunity to reset, to stretch yourself in a different way. If people feel that you are doing things, putting practices into place that are there to protect them, they will respect that, they will trust doing business with you, and they will be loyal over time. This is a time for innovation that's very iterative. They can be small things that you change about your business day to day, or how you're going to operate, that enable you to keep operating.
Do an assessment. Well, what am I holding on to that I shouldn't be holding on to, that's maybe putting me in a frozen mode or keeping me weighed down? Clear out your mind and heart and spirit. Perhaps there's things that you just need to write down and organize and deal with later, and focus on what's really critical for today, because it can get so overwhelming trying to do everything at once. If you're feeling like that and you think you don't know enough or you don't have enough to get through it, that's really imposter syndrome. Recognize that what you know and what got you to where you are now is really important for getting you out of this situation and getting you through it.
So I'm sure the majority of you who are watching have heard that saying of you're the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. But don't let that be forced upon you to become that average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. Use the online, techniques and just everything that we have at our disposal to surround yourself with more influential people. Podcasts is an amazing way to do this. YouTube as well. Go find some of these big influencers in your space, right, that are both just talking about either mindset or maybe actual tactics on how to grow your specific business. So the whole key here is consume content from people whom you would be willing to almost trade positions with.
Know your why, and if you're a company, focus in on your why and your purpose, because that purpose really connects you with the marketplace of your customers. If you don't control your schedule, guaranteed someone else will control it for you and book you up entirely, and you'll go, great, so now I'm going to get stuff done at midnight.
Control is a choice. You have it unless you gave it away. Choose to take control, right? If you don't take action, you're going to slowly start to sink and drown. But the more you keep moving, right? Maybe it's not the quote unquote correct move, right? Or maybe you try something and it fails, but just the motion, doing, trying is what's going to keep propelling you forward.
And he didn't give up. He just said, the answer is there. My job is to find it. And every time something doesn't work, I'm this much closer to getting there. You've got that control. You might as well go for it and test it out, because the worst thing you can do is like Edison, failed 999 times and then hit the winner.
Because now more than ever, it's important to socialize. It's important to be discussing with both colleagues and other business owners, as well as with your customers, right? We need to be standing together to get through these times. How can we find these other business owners? And truly the best way that I've seen is through Facebook, specifically Facebook groups. So you can put in any topic or industry or product or service, and there's going to be a group for it. On the right side, you can see Facebook's going to group people together that says members with things in common. This is people that have either friends in common, right? They've liked similar things on Facebook, similar pages. They're in similar groups. They're in similar industries. So this is an amazing place to start. First thing, I like to just simply touch base with people. Way too often, people are either sending me friend requests or accepting a friend request from me, and we've never talked to each other. Hey, thanks for connecting. Hope everything is going well during these unusual times. That message in itself, with no question tied to it, gets, I want to say, almost like an 80% response rate. Or number 2, I like a lot also here. What caused you to want to connect with me? Number 3, what are you focused on? Or what have you been focused on this past month or so? And then lastly, number 4, ask people to hop on a quick Zoom call. Are you open to it? Let's see how we can help each other. It's the new normal, everybody. The other piece of this puzzle was customers, right? And follower research. Not assuming you know what they want, but actually asking them. Now, when you're sending out an email, people get a little too caught up in the weeds, meaning they almost try and do too much. just be simpler. Simpler is better. So just write an email to your customers as you would to a colleague. Guys, if you aren't familiar, very familiar with Facebook and Instagram, they both have somewhat poll features and question asking features. And that's a great way to get immediate feedback, do some very simple customer research. Don't want to assume, we want to ask. And then the next things here with blogging and social media and content creation actually as well, build you up for the long term so that more people are going to be able to find you. So if they start searching for your service, for your products, you're going to be the company that pops up.
As you start blogging and as you start putting the word out, you'll see that people are reaching out saying, I had no idea you had that. That's incredible. How can I learn more? What do you actually have? This is your way to engage your audience, your existing one, as well as the future ones.
Right? You're becoming that expert. People are trusting you more and more. That way, when you do open, you'll have a lot more brand recognition, a lot more respect and authority because you were helping people in this time.
And seeing what others are doing as educational talks and value add in your area. And that might be a good starting place for you. And so think about maybe there's structural changes to your space or your place that are easy, or that you should at least consider the option and go, what if? The choice is yours. If you choose to have this and have this moment and recognize that reinvention is controlled by you, then you do have this. So Mark Sanborn here is just saying, look, if you're on a team, your silence isn't really helping. Definitely find a way to share your voice. Your site is that single source of truth for all of your content. Remember, social media is really a borrowed platform. So if you're writing great content, make sure you put it on your own site as well. If it's something that you wouldn't consider reading or really going through the whole way through, perhaps you're not engaging enough. So do that sort of content engagement test. Is it really fun and exciting and worth going through? And if not, really reconsider. Are you appealing to your audience, and are you relevant? If your audience doesn't feel confident in you as an expert, they're going to bail the site and go to somewhere else.
Touch on it more, but just consistently remember, when it comes to your website, when it comes to social media, put your audience first. You want to be putting out content that's specific to them, relevant to them.
Try to either look at it as if you've never looked at it before, or find some others that can independently assess it and look at the quality of the graphics, the amount of open white space that's there. If there's a ton of content crammed in and the images don't look very good, those are indications that you probably haven't touched your site in a long time. When was the last time you totally refreshed your website or built a new one? If you're not doing this constantly and rebuilding it and engaging it, you're definitely missing big opportunities to constantly be engaging with your there's a great feeling of sort of informality that's out there now, where you can just ask questions, and maybe it's not a perfect question, but that's okay. Know that your audience is looking to engage with you, so go ahead and reach out to them.
But the fact of the matter is, your customers want to feel like they're a part of your business as well. Guys, if you're stuck thinking, what do I post, right? I don't know what to do. Go see what other people are doing.
A lot of people will have just broken links, and broken links actually lower your SEO in ways that you'll just never even know about.
Much better to be active on just a few channels, right? Make sure that you're showing people, hey, we're still in business, we're still operating, instead of just trying to be everywhere and letting things fall through the cracks.
Finding people and ways to kind of get that story out there is what you need to do. It shouldn't be something that's in the way. It just happens across a plan, and it happens because it's so important. That engagement with your audience is huge. If you don't have a consistency of voice, that's huge, because you can start to create confusion and disruption. And this is a great time to sort of pivot into video and digital and other assets that can still educate your customers on what's new and exciting about what you're doing. So don't forget about this blend of content. Shorter is better. Just get to the message of the day or what's really important at that moment, and your audience will appreciate you for that. You're being asked to share on these platforms. This is a back and forth. It's a conversation. If you're not keeping the conversation going, then the other side is going to go, well, okay, I guess there's nothing else to talk about it.
Focus on comments. Can't believe that I didn't put this into the presentation, but truly, whoever's getting the most comments and back and forth engagement, is going to win. Because a lot of people don't even realize that this is a specific tool. People, when like you say Google My Business, it's like, oh, go Google it. The thing is, Google owns Google My Business, of course. So they're going to prioritize you if you're using their tools and their services. Your hours of operations for a lot of people changed during COVID, right? So have your services and products changed? For a lot of us, yes, right? We started selling new things online, or started providing delivery service or pickup, whatever it is. It's an amazing place that you need to remember to update. Google My Business is the #1 place to collect reviews, once again, because it is the first exposure to your business that people are going to get. Reply to all reviews, especially if it's a bad review. Do not go argue with someone in a review when you're asking for reviews, which you need to be asking constantly. Send people the direct link. The whole purpose of name, address, phone number is simply that you want your name, your address, and your phone number written the exact same way everywhere on the internet. And it starts with your Google My Business.
If you're not on page #1 in maybe the top 5 or 6 answers, like 75% of people never even go to page 2.
Put just like the first couple paragraphs, like a little teaser, and then put a link. So that once again, you're getting this SEO, you're getting that exposure. And then if people start reading it there, give them that teaser, give them some information, and then pop them over to your website, right? That's where they can get that full experience of who you are as a company. Think about your audience first, and how do you want to make them feel?
We weren't prepared. Our shop is set up to, like most retail stores, we want you to come into the store, we want you to look around at everything. But with the situation, we felt it was best to actually keep everyone out. Our store's pretty small, so we could only really have one person in the store at a time. We just had to make some changes. So we started moving the store around, moving the cash register up front, bringing product up, and trying to shorten the steps to make it more efficient. We also made the decision that we felt it was very important to wash all the bikes, and anything that was coming in the store should be sanitized. We set up a bike washing station to sanitize bikes. That way my staff was healthy and safe. That's a big addition to the amount of time it takes to take care of a customer washing the bikes in and out. But we felt it's the right thing to do. The repair side is doing really well. So we're trying to take advantage of that and kind of shift our movement to where we can really take care of that and get the most out of that and get as many people back on the road as possible. What surprised us most, how quickly plans change and how quickly plans fall apart. We think we have a good plan. We talk about it in the morning and we've changed by noon. We have utilized social media and the website like never before. I'm probably getting 50 inquiries through the website a day, something like that. And you have to adapt and take advantage of what can work. Our inspiration, definitely family, definitely employees. When an employee is having a bad day, and they're going to have bad days, you just have to be there for them. You have to understand and understand that there's more going on in their life than what's happening right here, right now. You just kind of reset and go back out. You want to, put your best face on for customers and make sure that, they know you appreciate that they're there and trying to support you as a small business and local business. And I've seen a ton of that, and that's also motivational for me. I simply can't tell people when the bikes are going to come in or when a product's going to come in. It's just beyond my control, and you have to let go of that. And most people understand. It's just true. Every day is something new, and whether it's you've just got to say this isn't going to work for me and I need to move on, or this is working great, let's do more of this. If you're just opening back up, things will be different. It will be a different experience than it was pre-COVID.
We survived the economy crash in 2008 as a business. And so therefore I was determined no matter what to make it through this crisis. And so we've had a positive mindset since the beginning. And then I had the idea, which my studio manager thought was crazy, to start making custom photo yard signs We photograph a lot of high school seniors and just hearing the stories of how sad they were. And then we were very fortunate that 9 News decided to do a story on us. And then literally overnight, we would wake up and we would have just our email just full of orders. I just made a promise to myself, because I think before COVID, if I was busy doing something and I'd see my cell phone ring, I'm like, no, that can wait because I'm at home, I'm with my family. But with this, it's like you had to constantly be on. So no matter what, I was always answering my phone because it's a yard sign, but it means so much more because these graduates are missing everything. And so it's the one thing that we could give them that brought a little bit of joy to their lives. And I think that was, I know it touches base on this, that's what kind of kept us going. And we still send out MailChimp newsletters that we have over 4,000 subscribers to keep them informed about our new products, because as much as people will deny it, everyone is on their social media and everybody is, looking at their computers more than ever. During a time of sadness, it really has brought joy and communities together. And then I think the best part is that even during this yard sign process, we've just reached so many people that we never would have, and we've actually grown our client base really, really well. So we know that this product, as crazy as it sounds, we know that we're going to keep offering it to clients in the future. During this time, we all crave connection more than ever. We were surprised of how important it is to take the time to reach out and just have a conversation with these people.
That's the whole reason for this series, is to reach out and help each other through this. I think that's the only way we're going to get from surviving to thriving.